speakers here with us. As in, see, I know that we are all here for the program, which is climate change program. So, and leadership, sorry. So we have here 3 wonderful speakers with us. And before the program started, we got everybody engaged in a talk, in a short discussion on what we can do aside from tree planting to curb climate change. And the discussion has been really, really enlightening and wonderful, because people have, a lot of people said their own opinions. We had even the big grammars that I didn't even understand too, and it was really, really enlightening. So, during the course of the program, a lot of questions were popping up, and then I mentioned that all these your questions, we have capable hands, as in capable people on ground to answer these your questions today. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our guest speakers for today and usher them in to the IT room. So first on the list, we have Mr. Akinshede. He is representing the Honorable Commissioner for Forestry. Please, a round of applause for our daddy. The second person on ground, we have Mr. Ogorinde Olumuyiwa, the Director of Operations, and he is representing Mr. Shofola Ogunomo. A round of applause for them. It is not easy. And then they said, we ladies, we have power, as in we have one beautiful and amazing lady among them. So the lady is, join me in welcoming Dr. Mrs. J.A. Giselle from the Department of Forestry and Wildlife, all the way from Funab. You are welcome, our daddy and our mommy. You are welcome. And we are so happy and glad to have you here. And once again, we are truly sorry for the delay. So the first speaker for today. So the first speaker for today will be Mr. Akin Sinde, representing the Honorable Commissioner for Forestry. The floor is yours, my daddy, sir.
Thank you so much. I have the honor of representing the Honorable Commissioner for Forestry in the person of Engineer Tunji Akinyosi. I want to recognize these persons. Mr. Samuel Okori, Movement Incorporation. I also like to recognize Mr. Kilasho Emmanuel, Ogun State Representative to Secretary of NYE. Also members and associates of POP movement. I also like to recognize members and associates of Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines, Agriculture, and the Agricultural Youth Entrepreneurs, distinguished girls, ladies, and gentlemen. It gives the Honorable Commissioner the great pleasure to be part of this first POP Nigeria project, the physical planning workshop in Ogun State. And I would like to acknowledge the active roles of POP movement and their partners in climate and sustainability and raising awareness on forest global issues. It is clear that the challenges we face in dealing with land degradation, a changing climate, food and water security, energy demand, and the needs of increasing populations are very much unprecedented. With a diminishing global natural resource base, including some estimates of only about 50 years of topsoils remaining and the severe aquifer depletion in Africa, it seems obvious that we cannot continue to mismanage our landscape the way we've been doing. I'd like to extend further here that we know that the organic matter layer in tropical Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, is only about 15 centimeters. The 75 centimeters of the temperate region. There have always been advocacy that all these heavy machines that we use on our farms, they are not compatible with our soil. Because when we talk of 15 centimeter organic layer of our soil, and then you bring in heavy machine to plow, already that layer is gone. And once that layer is gone, what you are planting is not going to do well. So we are only managing. So land provides the principal basis for human livelihoods and well-being, including the supply of food, fresh water, and multiple other ecosystem services, as well as biodiversity. So human use directly affects about more than 70% of the global and ice-free land surface. Land also plays an important role in the climate system. People currently use 1/4 to 1/3 of the land's potential net primary production for food, for feed, fiber, timber, and energy. Land also provides the basis for many other ecosystem functions and services, including cultural and regulating services that are essential for humanity. In one economic approach, however, the world's terrestrial ecosystem services have been valued to an annual basis to be approximately equivalent to the annual global gross domestic product. So land is both a resource and a sink of greenhouse gases, and it plays a role in the exchange of energy, in the exchange of water and aerosols between land surface and atmosphere. The land ecosystems and biodiversity are vulnerable to ongoing climate change and weather to the extremes. So sustainable land management can contribute to reducing the negative impacts of multiple stressors, including climate change, on ecosystems and our societies. Since the pre-industrial period, the land surface air temperature has risen nearly twice as much as the global average temperature. So climate change in many of our regions. Changes in land conditions, either from land use or climate change after global and regional climate, cannot be overemphasized. At the regional scale, however, the changing land conditions can reduce or accelerate intensity, frequency, and the duration of those extreme events. The of these changes varies from location and season. So climate change creates certain existing risks to livelihood and health. Infrastructure and food, however, increases impacts on land that are projected to future greenhouse effect emissions. So some regions will face higher risk, while some regions will face the risk previously not anticipated. Cascading risk with impacts on multiple systems and sectors also vary. That human activities is what is impacting our environment now. We're discussing earlier, because people don't know the import of trees, they just cut it arbitrarily. In my agency, we are saddled with the responsibility of maintaining, the trees that are cut in the reserve, not only in the reserve, also in the free area. And by the time you tell this contractor that, look, because it is rainy season now, and we need to watch the cycle of our exploitation, they will tell you, if you ask us to go and sit down at home now and we are not working, what are we going to eat? And before we know it, at their level, they have gone to all these political office holders. And before you know it, a call will come to the director and say, our people have come, and these are the people that voted for us. This is their complaint. You must allow them to work. And as a result, they continue to mine the forest. They continue to deplete the forest. And this is the forest that even the government is not releasing funds to plant back, to afforestate back. So these are the challenges we have had over the time. So the level of risk posed by climate change depends both on the level of the warming and how population, consumption, production, technological development, and the land management patterns have evolved over time. So pathways with higher demand for food, feed, and water, more resource-intensive consumption and production, and more limited technological improvements in agricultural use results in high risk from water scarcity in dry lands, land degradation, and eventual food scarcity. Now, the question is, how do we now regenerate the land, which is the import of this gathering, this workshop? So, what are the land regeneration practices options that we have? Many land responses that contribute to climate change adaptation and mitigation can also combat desertification and land degradation and enhance food scarcity. The potential for land-related responses and the relative emphasis on adaptation and mitigation is context-specific, including the adaptive capacities of communities and regions. And so, land-related actions are already being taken that contribute to climate change adaptation, mitigation, and sustainable development. The response, however, are assessed across adaptation, mitigation, and combating desertification and land degradation, food security, and sustainable development, coupled with a select of options to deliver across all these challenges. These options include, but not limited to, sustainable food production, improved and sustainable forest management, soil organic carbon management, ecosystem conservation, and land restoration, reduce deforestation, reduce degradation, and reduce food loss and waste. These response options require integration of biophysical and socio-economic other than the enabling factors. Now, what we are saying here is, for us to profile options to all of these problems we have, there must be engagement. Like we were discussing before we came to the podium, that those engagements will need to take it to the people at the grassroots. Like in my own agency, we take all of these engagements to the rural community, people who are living inside the reserve. You wonder, why do we have these communities inside the forest reserve? They are the original landowners before that area was gazetted as a forest reserve. However, they've been settled. But there are some of them who have what we call enclave in those reserves. And, over time, all of these people in the forest communities, their population have, expanded. And as a result, some of them have even gone beyond the bounds of their original enclave. So these are the things we'll be, battling with. And then we take all of this engagement to them and, kind of discourage them that instead of going into the forest to fetch fuel wood, there are alternatives to this. And then our belief is that more of those engagements, the frequency of those engagements, the sustainability of those engagements will yield results. Now, while some response options have immediate impact, others take decades to deliver measurable results. Examples of response options with immediate impact include the conservation of high carbon ecosystems such as peatlands, wetlands, ridgelands, mangroves, and forests. The last thing that is applicable to our own environment here. Examples that provide multiple ecosystem services and functions, but take more time to deliver include afforestation, reforestation, as well as restoration of carbon ecosystems, forest agroforestry, and the reclamation of degraded lands. I would like to emphasize more on this. With this program, the Land Neutrality project that the president signed in 2016 in France. Now, what this project intends to address is the greenery of our forest reserve or of our depleted reserves. Now, in that project for Ogun State, at our forest reserve, the Meko Forest Reserve, as we speak, we have demarcated a land area of 108 hectares to partner with the rural communities there in agroforestry systems, whereby they will bring in their own crops with the tree plants. And once you have this line of the line of reportage where it is from Abuja to the state to whoever, it is not always at a fast rate. But then Ogun State has keyed into that project, land extraction project, where we hope to regreen an area of 108 hectares in Awuru and the Meko Forest Reserves. Now, appropriate design of policy, institutions, and governance systems across states can also contribute to land-related adaptation and mitigation while facilitating the pursuit of climate-adaptive development pathways. Mutually supportive climate and land policies have the potential to save these resources, amplify social resilience, support ecological restoration, foster engagement and collaboration between multiple stakeholders. The land use zoning, however, and spatial planning, integrated land planning, regulations, incentives such as payment for ecosystem services, and voluntary or persuasive instruments such as environmental farm planning, standards, and certification for sustainable production, use of scientific, local, and indigenous knowledge, and the collective can achieve positive adaptation and mitigation of all these anomalies. Now, when we talk of this the indigenous knowledge, you find out that a slopy land area, you begin to ask yourself, why does the farmer plant across that slope? Again, why does a farmer leaves a portion of land after farming for 2 or 3 years and then it goes to another part of the land? These are the indigenous knowledge the indigenous people have, that if he doesn't plant across that slope, when rain falls, it's going to wash away his farm produce. And then he knows that this fallow system of leaving an area that has been mined over time and then going to that at another area. He knows that with time, that area is going to rejuvenate, it's going to come back. And so that is why we employ those indigenous knowledge in his practices, in his farming practices. Now, all this can also contribute revenue and provide incentive to rehabilitate degraded lands and adapt to and multiple climate change in certain contexts. Policies promoting the target of land degradation neutrality can also support food security, human well-being, and climate change adaptation mitigation. I talked about land degradation neutrality that the president signed in France, that the Ogun State government has keyed into in the project that is known as the Untitled project. The Untitled project is the land neutrality project that the Ogun State government is currently embarking upon with 108 hectares in that part of the forest reserve. Finally, Nigerians must recognize that our landscape is degraded and that it is not improving at the rate that we guarantee our future well-being. At the federal and state level, however, we need to have simple policy statement that highlights this degradation, that practices must change, and that we have the answers for all these problems. This statement can then drive a strategic and holistic plan to rejuvenate and regenerate our landscape that is coordinated at the ministerial level, equivalent and encouraged by local action on the ground. I talked of this, the bottlenecks in the way of reportage and in the way of assessing some of these things from the federal. Plus, the 7 states that have keyed into that project in Nigeria, Ogun State is one of them. And I'm glad and I'm happy to tell you that that REP Plus is even domiciled in my department. We run it. We run the REP Plus project of the federal government in my department, the Department of Non-Timber Forest Programs, Wildlife, and Ecotourism of the agency. In essence, change will lead to inspired and encouraged by government, potentially at the highest level and coordinated on the ground. That if all that we have on paper is not coordinated on the ground, then there will be no effect. And then the knowledge and support and the willingness of the land managers will also play a key role in all that we have been saying. So to save the planet, we must save our land. And there is not much time to do it, except we start now. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for our speaker once again. Wow. I love the way you submit your speech, sir, by saying to save our planet, we must start with now. All right. Firstly, I would like to apologize to all our speakers for delaying you. We are very, very sorry. Apologies from my end. Please permit me to humbly apologize. We are very, very sorry, sir. And to our audience as well, I would like to say that we are very sorry for delaying you as well. But I would like you to help me do one thing to our audience. I would like us to come forward. I know we are not backbenchers, right? So if there is a seat in front of you, kindly just help us fill the seat. Thank you so much. All right. Let me just do a brief introduction of why we are here. I know some of us might have been wondering what is happening. So the major reason why we are here is because I will start from where from one of the statements our speaker said. He said when it comes to Ogun State, we are always at the forefront in terms of social, economic, social, cultural activities and all. And that is one of the major reasons why we as young people, we are seated here today, because when we look at our environment, there's nothing you want to do in this life that you will not do within a particular space. And that is our environment. You want to go to school, you need an environment. You are going to a place of work, you need an environment. Probably maybe you want to hang out and have a wonderful time with yourself. You also need an environment, and that is nature. And if you look at it critically, we are losing that environment on a daily basis to different human activities, right? And if we don't call ourselves together and bring ourselves together and say, how do we want to manage our environment properly? And how do we want to act when it comes to saving our planet? Then it means we just keep losing it and we won't be able to do something to regain that environment back. And that is why this program has been set up to train 30 young people who will also become a climate ambassador, and within their own different sphere, from all the things they'll be learning from the event we are having today, will also be able to contribute positively towards sustainable environment. So thank you once again for coming around, and we are very grateful. And sir, when you mentioned Red Plus, I've actually been a fan of Red Plus online. So I registered on their platform. I used to get a lot of their information. I registered it when I was serving in Akure. And I've been looking at how do we get to do something with this Red Plus, because to me, I believe it's a project that is worthwhile. And if we have a lot of young people who are also engaged in that project, the first thing is they will be able to learn. And the second thing is they will be able to contribute positively to the society. And at the end of this program, we are going to be setting up like a roadmap of what we want to achieve, how every one of us will be contributing towards sustainable environment and sustainable city. So thank you so much for coming once again, sir. And we'll be moving to our next speaker. Actually, I have an agenda on my phone, but because I was not here, I don't know how the speaker came. And I would love to follow that pattern of how our speakers came in, so that one speaker will not say, I came in first, they did not call me. So permit us, we are your children and we are learning. And I believe the more we do this, the more professional we become in our engagement and talk. So, you came first. All right. All right. Okay. So, money. Let me have your flash. Let me have your flash. All right. So, when we want to greet, we say ladies and gentlemen. It's always ladies first. So, permit me to humbly welcome Dr. Mrs. Stahl. She has been a wonderful person. Let me be sincere. Among all the speakers, and she's one of the speakers I did not visit her physically. I only had to send her an email, right, to tell her about this program, and she has been supportive since that time. She has been highly receptive. Please, with a round of applause, let's welcome Dr. Mrs. Stahl.
Thank you very much. And I want to give you Mr. Kilasho. Yes. Yes, I can. Thank you very much. All protocols duly observed, as I have been earlier introduced, and Dr. Mrs. J.A. Yisel from the Department of Forestry and Wildlife Management, FUNAL. And I've been asked to talk on effective tree planting and
maintenance, effective tree planting and maintenance. And when I was given the topic, I was, what do they want to achieve? What is their goal? Why tree planting? And when I came in, I met a discussion on the ground. We're talking about tree planting and climate change. Tree planting, trees generally is the effect of tree is not just the change in the climate. It has changed a lot of things because tree is part of our existence. The trees that we plant is part of who we are. Trees have a lot to do with our sustainability as human beings. So if you are talking about trees, it's as if you are talking about human life. We are talking about trees, we are talking about the air we breathe, we are talking about in relations to food, we are talking about the quality of air, we are talking about a quality environment, we are talking about so many things that are related. I'm already talking about my slide. I've moved away from the first slide now. So I want to talk, why do we want to plant trees? Why are we planting trees? Why tree planting? Why can't we talk about arable crops, agricultural crops, that is, which has to do with the food we eat? Why are we not talking about animals? That's the protein. Why are we talking about trees in itself? Because tree planting is an umbrella for all this. And from our discussion is because people are not enlightened. I'm a researcher. Well, my field is silviculture, so I talk about nursery. You collect seed, you raise nursery, you take care of them, and we ensure that they are properly established. Well, during my PhD project, I did when I wrote my proposal, and by the grace of God, I got a grant, and the grant I got gave me that grant because I focused. Part of my project focused on tree planting. And I did not just plant just any tree. I ensured that I searched out an endangered species by the name Syncephalum dorsififol. And that is Agbayu. I researched and I was giving up on it because it was difficult for me to get the seed. I was in search of the seed for like 1 year into my work, and I was already giving up. But I now heard on the radio when someone just said, you are looking for a brand. It was in a particular location before and everything. I said, no, I'm not giving up. I will look for it. I will find it. I will research and I will establish plantation. So that was why I did it. So tree planting is part of our life. When I go and I see people felling trees, I see a part of me is going. You will see in an urban setting, you can't have a tree in a community. If you go to Lantoro Hospital and take that, their trees are still there. You know, as a patient, you would want to leave the ward sometimes and go into the compound. There is no how you will feel relaxed. In my place of work, people don't want to park their cars under direct sun. They will look for a tree. We call it umbrella theoretically. Everybody will want to park under because by the time you get into your vehicle is okay. And I will ask myself, how many of these people have trees in their house? One of my students have asked me, and I've asked me to my kids that you are teaching us to plant trees. Do you have trees? I said, yes, I have. I mean, I don't have the woody tree, but I have fruit trees in my house. I have orange. I have pawpaw tree. I have plantain. I have plants around me. It is not that I'm teaching what I don't do. I practice what I teach. So that is why there are a lot of benefits that is accrued to tree planting. It gives us oxygen. It is not just oxygen. The air quality. What type of air? What type of oxygen? There are polluted air. So, but if we have trees, if you are living in a tree environment, I can bet you will have quality air. It reduces noise pollution. Trees act as carbon sink. They are not just absorbing this carbon as greenhouse gases, but the carbon dioxide that they are taking in It is part of the molecule for photosynthesis. And it is in this molecule that they use to produce the glucose that will be in their wood formation. Don't let me go into too much of chemistry. Now, we want to talk about the definitions of terms, because when you gave me the topic, I was like, are you talking about urban forestry or forest plantation? So because there are two sides to it. If you're talking about urban forestry, it is majorly different from forest plantation. We're talking, maybe you're talking about a more forest reserve at Jacob, and all those places. But we're talking about urban forestry is different, and I gave several definitions. What is a forest? A forest is an ecosystem dominated by trees, in which tree composition and structure drive most of their functioning of the ecosystem. And when you're talking about tree planting, we're not just talking about the trees, but you're talking about the ecosystem. We are talking about the microbes in the soil. We're talking about the insects. We're talking about the animals that live within the forest. And I see we still have elephants, because there is still elephant corridor in Nigeria. But the more we deplete our forests, the more they see them, the more they kill them. So our trees, I'm not coming here just to talk about urban forestry. I'm coming here to talk about forestry generally. Tree planting, forest plantation, forest establishment. Because it is an ecosystem, it is a world on its own. And if I'm talking about forest plantation, are we talking about mixed species or pure plantation or pure species? Because there are two sides to forest stand. You can have the pure stand or the mixed stand. And each of these stands have their own benefit. So I don't know the purpose of this organization, but whichever way it is, I believe by the end of this program, we will have a focus on what exactly we want to do. And then we talk about assisted regeneration. We're talking about agroforestry. We're talking about afforestation. What is afforestation? Afforestation is planting or seeding trees on the land that was not previously forested. While reforestation is when you plant on a piece of land that had been previously forested, or maybe has been deforested or has been depleted, or something has happened to it. Next slide, please. I will not be able to be giving all those definitions, but I just put it so that we know which of these, what each of these is. And now, what are the guidelines to achieve success in any tree planting? First, you must first address the underlying drivers of deforestation. What are the causes of deforestation? Before we came here, there were some trees. There were some trees in our environment. What is driving this rate of deforestation? That is one thing you have to know. It is when you know the problem, that is when you can propose solution. But if you don't know the problem of a particular thing, you can't provide the right solution. So you must know the underlying drivers of deforestation. Then there should be integration of decision making across scales, from local to global. Because climate change is a global issue. It is not just national, and it is not just local to the state. So there must be decision making, like we are gathered here. It must range from everybody, from the local farmer to the rural dwellers, to the urban dwellers, to the educated, to the uneducated. Everyone must be involved in tree planting. And then we have to tailor tree planting strategies to clearly stated project goals and plan. What are your goals? You must have goals, because in tree planting, I will still get that there is what is called choice of species. Because in your choice of species, you must, what is my objective? Am I planting this tree for protection? Am I planting it for recreation? Am I planting it for production? So it is this goal that will help you to plan. And it is this goal that will help you to, okay, this is what I want to achieve. And when you get to a consultant and, okay, this is my goal, these are my objectives, this is what I want to achieve, they were able to tell you, okay, these are the species you should use. Like when we were discussing this morning, we were talking about fruit trees. It is because you want to achieve tree establishment amongst the local farmers. If that is not your aim, you won't go for fruit trees. You won't go for tree orchards. That's why we call it tree orchard. You will go for tree orchard. If your aim is timber production, like what our director said, if your aim, because they will keep harvesting as long as there is a need for wood. They will. And they will bypass those that are not allowing them to cut the trees on the forest and go to higher authorities. And when the order comes from above, you don't have a choice. So if our aim is production, okay, you want to meet the sawmiller's demand, they are coming and they are coming and they are coming, then there are trees for plants. So that is what we want to tailor our tree planting to, our objectives and our goal. And then we must focus on forest ecosystem as a whole, like I've just said, not just plants to trees. Because the ecosystem affects everything about it. It affects the soil, it affects the water, it affects the air, it affects the animals, both the microbes and the same ones. So we are focusing on the forest ecosystem and then coordinating different land uses. Which one are we doing? Are we going into agroforestry? Are we going into pure stands? Are we going into mixed stand? Are we having even age stand on even age stand? That is one. Please, next slide. Please, whoever is there should go to the next slide. Thank you.
You can help us.
Now, the gains. When you are educating people, and these people don't know the gains of what you are educating them on, they will just listen to you, and then that is where it will end. What are tree gains? What are the benefits of trees? Don't just go and tell them that it is climate change. The local people will not listen to you. They won't listen. They need within the forest environment. So their environment is not defeated. Don't just tell them climate change. You are speaking big grammar. You come down to their level and tell them everything that you need to tell them, especially tell them what they will gain. Tell them the benefit. Okay, now if you plant this tree among what you will achieve. There was one of our students said, okay, walnuts, that is I've forgotten asala. Now that it is not like that, maybe it's been threatened or something, that I should try to raise them, then I should sensitize the local farmers to plant them. That every year is getting more expensive, but by the time they plant them, we will have the trees then, and they will be able to keep tending the tree. It will not go into extinction, and they will still get profit from it. That is when they will buy your idea. It is not just climate change. Don't go and preach climate change to someone who is living within the forest. It will not sell. It won't sell. So what are the key benefits? There are environmental, there are social, there are spiritual. I didn't just put the spiritual aspect because when I told you we were talking about the spiritual thing, I didn't just put the spiritual. But trees are spiritual. You can go around the tree and then, you take your time to just it helps the spirit. I didn't just put it there, but it's part of the benefits of trees. When you're talking about environmental carbon sequestration, that is, the tree acts as carbon sink. They like we said, they accept the CO2 that we breathe out, which is the truth, and that is what they use. So when there is no CO2, the plants die. And when there is no oxygen, humans die. So it is one, win-win. So we give it out, they accept it, they give us the clean oxygen, they help us to clean our environment. Biodiversity enhancement. It helps it is not just the trees, but the ecosystem. The ecosystem, the animals, other plants, other insects that are in the soil, that are living there, that are helping the soil. All those microbes, all those microorganisms, all those earthworms, they are helping the soil. But by the time we just kill the trees and we just leave the place bare, they will try to locate another environment. That is if they survive the depletion of their own immediate environment. I am talking about social. There's employment generation. Definitely, it is somebody that you employ to pick the seed. It is somebody that you employ to fill the pot. It is not. There will be someone at the nursery. There is employment. It is somebody that you will call to prune. You won't go to the farm and prune yourself. There is employment. By the time you are planting trees, next slide. There are a lot. There is food security. There is income. There is food security. There is income. There is energy, shelter, and structure supply. Trees are fodder for animals. When you are if your focus is to have an agroforestry system, then you are not just going to plant anything. You are going to plant leguminous trees that have high nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So it's a goal. There is herbal medicine, there is stimulation of local economy, there is multiplier effect. One thing will lead to another, and there will be income. There will just be a supply, there will be labor, and there will be a need to pay for the labor. Next slide, please. Please, can someone just sit there so that you can help me? Thank you. Please, I have thought of it. It acts as windbreak, it acts as a shelter break, it fights soil erosion, it increases property value. Now, you are talking about property value. If you go to some certain estates, some built up areas, because when I was making it up, I was thinking, I don't know where you want me to talk about. So I just combined urban forestry with forest establishment. When you're talking about increase in property value, if you take me, I want to buy a house, and you take me to a house where there are no trees, the environment is harsh, when I come out in the evening, because once the sun comes down, there is a possible reflection from the plain ground. But if you plant trees, they will provide a microclimate for you. I will possibly want to go for the one that has the trees, because by the time I come out in the evening, I will be okay to stay around my environment. So that is why I put that one. Increase in property value. It will definitely, you can't a house that is at Ibadan Estate, you can't compare the same value to the one at Iberekodo, because at Kenta, even at Kenta there are trees. There are trees. It makes the environment livable. The next slide. Now, after that, I talked about choice of species. Choice of species. Like I said, it is when you know your goal. That is when you know what to plant. The type of objective, the type of the soil, and several things that I put here will help you to know the type of the choice of species. Because the best failure of any tree planting is the wrong choice of species. It's like the wrong choice of spouse. Any tree plantation is the wrong choice of species. So the success of plantation forestry in the first place depends on the judicious selection of tree species to be grown under given set of conditions. And that it is important because no matter the attention that is given to nursery operation and tending operation, can overcome the mistake of the wrong choice of species. They are okay, I will manage it. That is the maintenance aspect. I will maintain it. I will do something. Let me just pick anything. I just want to plant any tree. You don't just plant any tree. You plant a tree that you will know will be sustainable, that can weather through every condition on the site of plantation. Yes. And now these are some of the points that I said. Suitability of that species for the object of management. Intended function of the tree as the planting site. What do you want to achieve? Is this suitable with your objective? If your objective is to control erosion, the objective is to provide shade. I think that in the past, but you can have your own personal guide. You have to know. But you must have the right kind of species, your objective of management. So you must talk about that. And the closeness of correlation between site factor and the cultural requirements of that particular species. What are the site factors? What type see that survive on the soil because there are sometimes the plant just and then we see that okay, like masculine that we mentioned, I think nothing and that is also we have to look at the moving zone as well. There is a particular tree in the collapse. Yes, it has collapsed terrible. To have a tree in the city of Akuma or in the city why are you talking? And so not one thing what type of soil, what type of pruning, and how to sustain the tree. And then another one is the market demand. That's the that one is the cost of the generation. Then how much space is available for the tree? And this one is talking about urban centers. If you're talking about urban centers, what distance? Because I didn't just put the picture here. What distance is it from the house to the tree? And what will be the above ground and below ground? Those are some of the things you need to know before you introduce trees to people. And then how much water will the tree require or tolerate? Because too much of water is good for plants because without water they can't survive. But too much of water will reduce oxygen within the soil. And then the roots will not be able to breathe. And then less water, except they are savanna trees in the desert or trees in the north. Like Kaya Senegalensis. Kaya Senegalensis, when I told one of my students to work on watching regime on Kaya Senegalensis, we noticed that the ones that were watered once a week had the best growth. And the root was, in fact, it has already established at the end of 3 months. But the one we were watching every other day was not as strong as the one that was watered once a week. So I consider that Kaya Senegalensis will work better when there is little or no water. So the watching requirements, because some of us are very lazy at watching. Because I can't plant a tree and I will not water, especially when it is not during the raining season. Now, the next slide is the scale and the rate of plantation development. To what extent do I want to achieve this plantation development? To what extent? There are 4 major things that will determine the rate and the scale of your plantation or of your planting. Even for this organization, number 1 is finance. Tree planting is cost effective. Tree planting is cost effective, especially if you are going for some species that are rare. They'll be spending maybe 200 naira per seedling. And who told you that all the seedlings you are going to establish are going to survive? So you need to know the finance. Who is going to finance that project? Who is going to help that project? Another one is land availability. Is the land available for this project? Because like what Daddy said, he said the land where all those reserves are belongs to the local people. It's because they are government, that's why they can collect it. They gazetted the place and they took it from them. Yes, they didn't take them out of the place, but they are automatically taking it from them. Land availability is land available for us to plant trees. At their land, most of what we do now is infrastructure, industrialization, community development. Nobody is planting trees. If you want to achieve it, that is the skill. Do we have land available? And the next one is labor. Who are those that will help you? Because we have gone to school. How many of us can plant trees? Bending down and planting trees is a lot of tasks. And I've done it before, and I know that it's not too easy. So what of labor? How close is labor to your site? How close is labor to your site? And in such a case, I would even advise that if you are going to like the reserve or a community, you can employ the indigenous people. That is how you will even bring them to the knowledge of when you are planting the trees. Employ them. Tell them you're here. Tell them your goal. They will, and okay, if you plant 100 trees per day, this is how much you collect. You think they will? They will. They will collect it from you. They will plant it. They will do more. And you tell them these things, we are planting it in your community to sustain this particular tree species. They are endangered. But if they are in your community, there is a possibility that your community turns to a tourist center. People will come. You think they will not protect it? They will. That they are selling your objective. You are selling your goal. They are not just selling them for climate change. They will not listen. They won't. Because now at this point, everybody wants what we give them some return. And they will want to protect this thing. It will make our community to be enlightened. And then another one is infrastructure. You don't just come into people's community and then establish tree, and you don't do anything back to the community. What are you giving back to the community? We definitely like what he said. He said those machines are compacting the soil. They are having effect on the soil. That one is no doubt. But definitely you will need access mode. So you have to create mode. Maybe they don't even have electricity. Maybe they don't have potable water. You are bringing something massive, and you don't want to do something for the community. No, you have to do something for their community. You have to give back to their community because you are taking a part of their land. Is that the next slide? Now, I think after the choice of species, and it's not planting materials. After you have chosen your species, you know what you want to do. That situation, there are two layers. Like site preservation. Now, how to establish forest plantation? Going to establish forest, you have to know the layout. Site preservation and planting. And other site layout next again. Under the layout, in the layout there are things you have to look at spacing. Spacing. You have to look at the area for the and location of the plantation, establishment of fire safety around the forest plantation as ground protection land. So whenever you have the land, you are talking about the extent to which you can have. So when you have the land, you need to have the layout. What is the spacing division? Because the more you say, you are giving the trees out. So without going to people, they'll keep going straight up. Because they'll be competing for life. But if you spend too much, you stop that. And also depends on your objective. If your objective is for coal, then you can't spend them too much. But if your objective is for shelter or shade, then you spend them so that they can run and meet your objective of managing. Next slide. In person, I can that I will have rectangular spaces in see in the rectangular spaces there are two. We have the 2 by 8 meters and we have the 4 by 4 meters. And in the triangular spaces we have 4.3 meters and 4.3 meters. So it depends on if I was thinking what I was depends on my if my and another have a hole. Allow for straight hole. But if there are for protection or water shed or to provide shade for the then I spend them like a standard situation. I will know now I'm correlating that those the previous slide, the spacing type to the number of CDs. The number of projected to establish also has. Even for that center, what you can't just want to plant trees and don't have a projected number of species you want to do. Because it's also part of the form. So you want to for the 4 by 4 is 225 species. For the 2 by 8 is 225, and for the triangular is 225 species. I have said the parameters there. So it is now your spacing. You are understanding the number of species that you are going to be left by. Now, inside situation, there are like 2 main things to reduce or eliminate competition and ground preparation to improve water retention and provide optimum soil conditions for the plantation. So there are 2. But I don't use that advice that you put that of initial plantation, which I don't advise that remove all the existing because your seed can actually be shaped up. That's types of so there are a lot of things that has to do with tree planting. Some of your seedling might be shade loving. If it is shade loving, I would advise you to totally remove the tree. If it is sun loving, then you can clear. You can clear all the plantation, all the existing plants before you establish. And well, if you do that, you are reducing the amount of competition because weeds are very vigorous. They try to overpower the seedling. So you can balance between the two. And now there are 4 methods of vegetation clearance: the manual, the mechanical, burning, and use of weedicide. So you will go for anyone that suits you. But then if you are going for manual, definitely it will take time for you to achieve your goal. If you are going for mechanical, you also have to look at the effect. Although it will be fast, but you have to look at the effect on the soil. You have to look at the effect on the soil. I will say burning, because by the time you burn, the ash returns back to the soil and it gives nutrients back into the soil. If you're going to use the weedicide, it's also good because definitely it's going to clear it once and for all. Next slide, please. Now, planting materials. You know that every plant, every tree, every plant, when it plants cut across whole, either arable or tree, start from seed. But in forestry, there are ways by which we plant. So to have planting materials, we can have bare-rooted trees or bare-rooted plants or seedlings. We can have storms. We can have container plants. We have direct sowing, seedlings from natural regeneration. We have stem cutting. I believe that we are all familiar with all these. So it depends on the one we want to use. But then I really don't advise. I advise that we establish or plant trees by direct sowing. There are some conditions why I don't advise this. One is that direct sowing, they may germinate slow. Their germination may be slow. Second is that those seedlings that are container plants or bare-rooted plants have received some attention at the nursery. they have been taken care of for up to most times 3 months, 4 months before they start getting to demo age. You will take care of them. But the ones you sow directly into the field will have to compete with field weeds. And I tell you, those weeds are wicked. They are strong. They are very vigorous. Definitely, they will overpower your seeding. If at all you are able to, out of your 625 seeds that you sow, if you are able to come up with 200, then you are saying, I congratulate you. So I always advise, is either you use stem cutting or container plant or bare-rooted plant, because they will have gotten a lot of attention. Or seedlings from Neutrality, that's what we call the saplings. You just go into the forest and then you will see the saplings of those trees growing, and then just uproot them and possibly transplant them into a polypod, give them some reconditioning before you establish them on this field. And now, when to plant? When to plant? When to plant is very critical to the survival of your plant, except you are ready to do critical watching. When to plant? You plant correct timing, particularly with respect to lifting of plants, is very critical to successful planting operation. So we have to the barest minimum, reduce evapotranspiration stress at planting. And this is one major cause of their initial death. Because by the time you are transplanting them, possibly from the nursery, from wherever, because definitely you don't have a nursery prior to your plantation establishment, you have to possibly buy or raise. Definitely you are going to transplant them. Some seedlings are very, very fragile, especially if they have not been exposed to a term we call addling off at the nursery. At least if you are going to establish them in 1 month, in 3 weeks to 4 weeks to their establishment, begin to withdraw all your 100% care. Expose them to direct sunlight. Reduce their watering. Just leave them. Let them. It's like our children. When they were at the nursery stage, there are some cares that we give to them. But as they graduate to their private classes, we begin to withdraw the more attention we are giving, because we know that they are growing and they are going to get engaged with some other people. They will be bullied. That is the weed. They will be bullied in their class. So we begin to withdraw their attention. The same thing applies to the seedlings. And then to minimize plant stress and possible death, seedlings should be planted when the moisture level has returned to field capacity. That is, after approximately 100 millimeters of steady rain has fallen. And here in the tropical, but for the change in the climate, normally forest is established around June, July, when we have a continuous, steady and continuous rain, because those seedlings need to get established during the rainy season. And then we should establish during cloudy days when the humidity is high, and we should employ the use of balanced seedlings that have high morphological and physiological weight. You don't use seedlings that are already bending. Definitely they will not survive. And then you use well-watered seedlings. Then planting should be done during the short rainy season and long rainy season. All these months have actually changed here in Nigeria, because we observed that rain even didn't start until early July, and with what we are seeing now is as if the rain is going gradually. So it's fluctuating, but then the best time to establish or to plant a tree is cloudy days, when the soil has gone back to its field capacity. Now, what are the causes of failure in tree planting? After we have done all, we have chosen species, we have planted, and we have done. What are the causes of failure in tree planting? One is inadequate site preparation. When our site is not properly prepared, then when we use poor planting stock, that's planting nursery stocks or seedlings or storms that are not okay, that are poor, that their physiology, especially their physiology is bad. And then careless adding of planting stock, that is where you have to monitor those who are working for you, your laborers. How are they handling their seedlings? How are they planting it? Are those there well? Or they are just having it, I don't care how to do it. It's not my project, it is their project. I will do it anyhow. Poor planting stock will affect your planted tree. And then bad or wrong planting technique. What type of technique are you employing in your planting? And then overexposure during transportation and a consequence of physiological shock. There is no how you have to transport, if you are using nursery stock, you have to transport your seedlings from their nursery to your planting site. That is why most times it is always advisable that your nursery should not be too far away from your planting site. And then the last one, which I should have put at the first, is the ranches of species. That is number one major cause of failure. Once you choose the wrong species, that is the end of that project. And now, what are the general rules in planting operations? If you want to plant, what should you do? I said for container seedlings, because I have put in the earlier slide, there are several planting materials that you can use. But for container seedlings, first of all, remove the impervious materials before planting. That is, actually, they are in polypods. You remove them from the polythene pod before you plant. You don't plant them with the polythene pod, expecting them to survive. You have to first of all remove the impervious material, then you dig a small hole. If you are using a bare rooted seedling, that means a seedling without soil, you just open a slit, maybe with a stick that is the size of the roots and that is deep enough to contain it before inserting. But if you are using a containerized seedling, you have to dig times 2 the size of the polypod to accommodate the soil that is coming with the seedling. I would not advise that you remove the seedling and the soil around the seedling. Plant it with the soil, but make the hole that you are going to dig, that you are going to insert it to be times 2 of the size of your polypod. Then insert the roots into the soil up to the root collar. Then fill back the soil around the root and must be firm, either by heating or not pressure. So it is the same soil that you have removed from that hole that you should fill back. Don't take extra. Don't take extra, because by the time you take extra, you are compacting the soil. You are reducing the soil oxygen that is there. And by the time the soil is compacted and you water, it will not go down. It will not be around. It won't reach the root in itself. And then while inserting in the soil, avoid damaging the root either by breaking or crushing. Once the root of any tree or plant is damaged, that is the life of the plant. The root is the life of the plant once it is damaged. And when I was doing my research, I found out that maybe because it is the research and I was not too conversant in method. When I was finding out the physiological parameters, I found out that the roots of the seedlings were already bent. And once the root of the seedling is bent, it is not healthy for the seedling at all. It is not healthy. A root should go straight down into the soil. So you should avoid breaking or crushing the root. Then storms should not be forced into the ground. And on dry site, planting position must maximize water retention. Yes, please, next slide. I just put a diagram of what I have just put here on the slide. Next slide, please. In the next slide, this is the last part, because I have done effective tree planting and now I should talk about the maintenance. After all has been said and done, we need to put maintenance operations into consideration. And the maintenance operation starts from weeding. You weed. What is weeding? Weeding is the removal of unwanted plants from our site. That is the basic definition I can give. Weeding is the removal, then there is beating up. Beating up is called replanting. By the time after like 1 or 2 years, you found out that some of your healthy seedlings, they didn't grow, they didn't survive. You need to replant to mix up with the number of trees you want to achieve. And there's what we call cleaning. Cleaning is different from weeding. When you clean, you will see that there are some plants that are not healthy. Unhealthy plants, unhealthy seed plants. You need to remove them before they become infectious. they can infect the other plants around. So you need to clean the environment, and there's climate cotton. You need to, there will be climate cotton. Some are even woody. I know of an example within the university community that the climate eventually strangulated the tree, and the tree died. So there is need for climate cotton, and there is need for fertilizer application. Why are you applying fertilizer? It's just to correct nutrient deficiency. If you have done your soil analysis and the soil analyst told you that the soil is okay, then you don't need to apply fertilizer. But if from the analysis of your soil, you are told that there is deficient of one nutrient or the other, then you need to apply fertilizer. Then need for fire tracing, very, very important, because there are some careless people that they will just throw fire, but when you have a fire tracing around your plantation, and now I'm talking about plantation, around your plantation, you are protected it. They will know that something is around this place. And in fire tracing, you are just removing every combustible material that can easily spark up fire and destroy the whole forest. And now, thinning. Thinning and pruning are some of the major planting operations that must be carried out. Thinning is the act of removing some of the stems of an immature forest plant with the aim of creating better conditions for growth and quality wood. When you thin, you just remove the ones that, well, these ones are not too good. Let me just thin them down. Thin them down to the number that you know that at the end of, at the projected time of harvest, or whatever your objective is, you are still achieving your goal. And what are the purpose or the objective of thinning? To reduce fire hazard, likelihood of reduction of likelihood diseases, and retention of trees with desirable characters and sources of feed supply. That's why you are thinning. You don't just want to have so many trees and yet they are not effective. And then the classification, we have dominant thinning, we have codominant thinning, we have intermediate thinning, and we have suppressed tree thinning. So in the dominant thinning is when you see that a particular tree is the highest, the height is more than the others. Why not thin it out so that it can give room for those in the in the codominant range? And that is because of my time. Next slide. The next slide is talking about it's also talking about thinning method. We have low thinning, foul thinning, and selective thinning. And now pruning. Pruning is just the removal of the live and dead branches along the lower bole of the standing tree. It will improve the wood quality, especially if your aim is to have a straight bole. You have to prune. You have to prune it down, especially if those trees are not self-pruning. You have to prune. And if you are pruning, you have to be careful in pruning as well. There's what we call low pruning, high pruning, and then next slide. Now, my conclusion. Planting trees has a lot of benefits to human life, animals, and the ecosystem at large. Hence, there is need to plant trees. And there are, however, some challenges that must be subdued for any tree programs to be successful. Going forward, some major factors must be put in or placed in order to mitigate these challenges, which are there should be national policy on tree planting. When the foresters, those in charge of the forest, if they say no to the contractors, that no should be binding. It is not that they will now go to higher authorities. It has to do with national policy. It is not those that are working in the reserve. It should be national policy that will protect the trees and the planters. Then there should be nursery establishment for the production of quality nursery stock useful for tree planting. The proper selection and breeding of quality tree species with good characters, such as early fruiting, fast growth, straight bole, and then involvement of the indigenous people during tree planting will enhance the rate of protection and give them a sense of belonging in the project. And I end with the statement of Professor Bruce Nelson. People who will not sustain trees will soon live in a world which cannot sustain people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Personally, I believe tree planting is not something we can do in one day, right? And the essence of this program is there's going to be continuity. Because you know that for us to do the especially tree planting, I was discussing with a colleague of mine that even in most of our primary schools, especially public primary schools, we discover that some primary schools don't even have a single team, which is not even good. Because an environment where there is life, and the people should be able to learn very well, to see the standards and windshield and every other opportunity that comes with it. So thank you so much for this wonderful presentation, ma'am. Please let's start for our again. All right. So I know our daddy is supposed to be our next speaker, which is right sitting beside us. But I'm guessing that our daddy's speech will have a lot of questions because he's standing in for the director of Ogwama, which is Ogun State Waste Management Association. And we as young people, we understand the fact that without a clean environment, there is no health. And while Dr. Mrs. Bishia is presenting, we have somebody within our midst who worked in, is also one of our speakers, but in his humility, he has decided to sit at the back till you finish. So I would like to welcome to the high table the presence of Father Patrick Ngoyi. He's the chairman. Please, a round of applause. He's the chairman for Society Organization in the state. So we can call him our own daddy because he speaks on our behalf. So, sir, I would like to humbly request for your permission, sir, to allow Father to speak. He came in all the way from the boat this morning. So it's really an honor for us. So I'm deeply apologizing, sir, because we have some other meetings to attend to. So thank you so much, sir.
Young people, they are not the future. The young people should be the leaders of the day. So whichever action they take today is better because they are actually determining what is going to happen tomorrow. Some of them are told that they had a state of Austria. You can produce that as you want. I think very much is difficult. Also, you have all of it. See, one thing that has happened inform you and beg you for yourself in the future. Never ask to speak after a teacher. Because when you speak after a teacher, you know she masters the program, she has all the she controls the audience, and she captures the audience. And when you are telling something, how do you control? So if I can just captivate you, please just forgive me. It's the phone of the organizers who plays me after. So don't blame me. Now we Google, you have a lot of text. You have a lot of conference. You have a lot of thought. We need more and more capacity to engage, capacity to engage. If you are not happy with the situation, it is not by growing grammar that you are going to change that situation. But by taking action in the direction of the change you want. You are not happy with this situation, it's your right. What are you going to do? You are not happy with this situation, it's your right. But Can you change it or no? You are not happy with this situation, go. Change and become what you want. I would like to take note of one day, 25th of September. For you, 25th of September, 2015, sometime in New York. I remember there were about 193 and objectives to the president. Right? That fateful morning, I think that's it. So I noticed that before we drove, very early in the morning, like the station, to address the head of state. Yes, that's therefore. Now that will see. Replanting the ecosystem has something to do. Before the head of state went together, before about our common goal. Common goal, yes, that's the ecosystem. What have we done to cause? How have we used God's blessing? The separation between economy and the ecosystem and spirituality has done a lot of harm. It's not the biggest of all things. You know when it's called what? You are not allowed to cut the tree. You need special permission of cartoons that they use. The largest tree is also the largest reservoir. We don't capitalist enough. Like the capitalist small trader said, we have to want that big tree for plant for building. Capital. This is we are. Politicians, government, they don't know what to do with climate change. Erosion everywhere, even United States. We cannot control floods. They cannot control storms. Fire everywhere. 2-3 weeks, they cannot find it. Technology has failed, has shown its failure. I say no to the 18th of September 2015. Because of that day, the head of state globally approved the 17 goals. I'm on the agenda 27, which itself came after the 2063 agenda of the African Union. Once the African head of state went to Europe and said, if you don't accept the African Union agenda 2063, we are not going to sign your global goal. Because the Africans also insisted that we are going back to the relationship between nature and human life. The agenda 2030 wrote a clear agenda. If so far we have separated politics from religion, we have separated economy from spirituality, we have come to say the way it is. Yes, we cannot go on that. Therefore, any project, any action you want to say in this world, you must address the consequences of that action in three dimensions. First, what happens to the economy? Two, what happens to the social? And three, what happens to the environment? This is where you guys get there. I'm already concerned about what I you should start getting concerned about what you are going to leave behind for your own children. If you think the goal is the experts of the United Nations, public research, look, the climate change is moving forward faster than ever before. The 1.5, you don't want to. People dying in the US and Europe have to heat. They're dying. Heat. Look at the rain. Farmers don't know what to plant anymore. So the time you expect the rain to stop, they are not stopping. It's going on. It's water for this. It's not what that becomes too much. It's only different to you are supposed to do. New perception, new perspective of living in this world. The three economy, environment, and social. One, be considered all the time. During the process of negotiation. Because these are government alone, do not have this. I saw the Nigerian ambassador. Before he spoke, he was surrounded by two or three experts. And they are talking issues. And we need to that's what they need for that partnership between any policy enacted by this government that is not evidence-based. It's policy for no one. We have to overcome that dichotomy to produce politics. Let us go together. We need that deal with it. Private sector. Sorry, private sector. I want to take people to the business area, the government one day. We're having companies, one Egypt. They have been schools, not like Egypt, road construction, economy very good. What happens to the social? They why producing the rivers. The only source of water for the poor women. And you know what they do? Well, left to God. I'm not saying I'm a devil. But the kind of work people women do, they are the ones to drink water, to cook food, to watch children. Let them have that bath when they have water. Now you go and produce that river. Because of course the state is money. It is social in this story. Because women who depended on that river for water provision, they don't have to go miles away to seek water. What happened to that? Once the project around Chicago, when the dust from the factory, the cassava leaves were turning yellow, red, green, and they turned yellow and red. What happened to the lungs? But money. The new paradigm, economic development, to free people. They develop the economy, we need it. But we may not develop the economy while destroying the social. We must not develop the economy while destroying the environment. This is where civil society leaders, I don't know the level of time we are in the governor's compound here. Meeting investors, because they said that people are data trained and they are mutually reinforced. That's what happened. Let's look at economic development, for example, for one. But also we know because the development of the economy, because we go 8 or 9. But what happens to women? Which one is that? Gender. That was 5. That was 5. And we say boys, but not go to fetch water. The parents have to follow their mother looking for water. Will that go to school? No, they have to go to water. What happens to 1/4 education? And if indeed you have polluted water and people are becoming sick, what happens to those 3? Which is people's health. And if indeed you are polluting the entire ground and food is being destroyed, what happens to goal 2? Now we can have to spend most of the time fetching water. And they can no longer go to market to sell the little they got to the market. What happened to gold? Young people together. Nobody should tell you that we should have something to do with it. Not easy. If you don't care about politics, politics care about you. If you don't get involved in politics, politics will get involved in your life. And like you said, if you know that something is very important and critical, that means you have no policy supporting it for it. Every item that's important in your life must be supported by your public policy. And one of the jobs politicians do allocate resources. They are going to allocate resources based on their priorities. How do they know your priorities if you don't tell them? How will they know your priorities if you don't seek to influence them? Yes. The private sector is what? What gave the private sector? Profit. Full stop. Private sector is what? That's what they can put to. They need to make more money. Oh, plant right. But they say plant right because they know people will want to right. The aim is not to provide food the nation. No. The aim is to make money. That's why this is making matter whether the right they are going to see come from Harvard University, where some people are born inside the laboratory with the so-called genetically modified and say, yeah, we have vitamin E, vitamin Z, vitamin YY. It's matter. They want to sell. That's also why you come and act. You want money. Make the business, make the government, make the professional. That's something very good. If you feel high peace, because the researcher will demonstrate that. So, if you are not there to provide alternatives, politics will go to the side of the project. And of course, if you are not participating in the process of lawmaking, the lawmaking is enough. Right? Once the law has been passed, you must obey it. And if you don't obey it, why is it the government? They have no enforcement agent. They will catch you on that law and send you to jail. You become a troublemaker. And the first private sector and the government is one. That is what this position. That's why it's important for you, young men, young women. This training you are having, I was so happy to see the kind of details you have. But you must also prepare yourself to adapt them, to adapt the researchers, so that they will be able to provide alternative capacity. If you don't adapt them now, you have to with Professor Obute, and even with Beck, the Vice Chancellor. So that conduct research that will help us make money. Also, so that conduct research that will benefit the people, benefit the masses. We go to the governor. The governor, the person who has important. And for that, I speak. People 1 hour, face to face. Engage. You don't need to see researchers out there. You don't need researchers out there. You have to see. Because of the first piece, 5D, the entities have 5 P's. People present. And we come here to do what? To protect our planet. People. You have people. You have planet. People, planet. Number 3, who knows it? Prosperity. We cannot know progress alone. And number 4, the 4th P, peace. We need peace to move forward. And finally, the 5th P, partnership. We cannot do it alone. Remember the saying, you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, with others, go alone. This is a wonderful thing you are doing by coming together to say, you've got a responsibility. You've got a task to perform. Technically, you need this knowledge. The time for activism, for activism's sake, is over. Activism now has to be research-based, evidence-based. Look, I did not know the kind of expertise there was in government. Until we start meeting directors, wow. So this guy, if you are making a proposal to them, you must arm yourself with your argument. We had a meeting with the Commission of Justice. We're talking about Code 16. How do we push justice? But we went to tell you, Honorable Commissioner, for SGG to be implemented in these things, your ministry is key. You have to ensure that the members of the House are properly trained. If you are to be creditworthy, if you are to be trusted, it is not the one mess that's going to save you. It is not all the noise being made that's going to save you. It is not moving permanently with your ears blocked, listening to music and dancing. If you want to have a voice, you have to sit down and listen to experts. Well, we can come in to pray like the way we're praying with you guys now, but you need to listen to experts in each of the 17 sustainable goals. The goal is never one without the other. Goal 10 talks about inequalities. That singular project of quality has brought in a lot of equality in that community. It has impoverished women. It has affected the health of the people. It has made girls more dependent on their mother. And once you reduce the income of the family, they will not be able to pay for the school fees of their children. So why making money while destroying the social? But you have that responsibility. I was glad to listen to the facilitator telling our prof that tree planting cannot be assimilated in one day. Yes. The new development agenda cannot be assimilated in one day. But we need constant effort. We need constant education. We need constant sharing. Remember, thinking of the opposition in the civil society, some thinking they are better than the others. They're better than thou. I was just telling one of my colleagues this morning that there are 4 key functions within civil society that must be accepted. You have the good citizens. Yeah, they want the laws to be implemented. They want people to know the law. You have the rebels. The rebels, these are the people who challenge the government, who challenge every policy and say that this policy is not inadequate. You have the reformers. The reformers, they want laws to be changed. But you also have change agents who will enter within the system, who will enter the structures and work within. Let me tell you, your capacity to be listened to will become a reality if you can complement each other. Not by excluding those who are not sharing the same goal, the same objective, but by knowing and integrating the concern, the objective of the other, as being complementary to your own objective. Not the we versus they, but we together. Partnership. A multi-stakeholder partnership. Accept those. We need partnership in the private sector. Yes, because the rice they are producing, they are making money, but we are getting food. But we need to engage them to let them know that to produce that food, they don't need to destroy the environment. We need scientists to tell them, look, we can produce this food in a sustainable manner without bringing in too much inequality. We need a new way of being together. That is for you, Agenda 2030. You know, in communication, I'm not a professor of communication. I was told that try to keep it a bit short, 15, 20 minutes, and allow open discussion. Because document, all that I've said, the documents are here. So you can have them to read and dig further. My concern is always to limit. Let's do the thinking. Let's ask questions. Let's share experiences. Let's give our own perspective. Let's tell our own story, even our own side of the story. That is when we complement each other that we'll be able to move together. Don't forget, let's engage ourselves, each other. Let's build our capacities. Let's engage the government. Let's engage the academia. Let's engage the private sector, knowing full well that the success for the 5 Ps of Agenda 2030 SDGs will not be achieved unless we do it hand in hand and together. So I promise to keep it very short and give you the document for the continuity. The high table, thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for Father once again. We all want to say a big thank you to you once again for making it down all the way from the Ojibwe down to be with us at this particular meeting. And after this event, we promise to keep engaging you because just like you said, that for us to be really heard, our advocacy has to be backed up with informations, with data, with facts and figures. And we know we cannot do it alone. We have to learn from the elders, and we'll keep doing that. We'll keep, yes, that's go 17 partnership. So, and even this event, if not for partnership, we will not be having this event. All our speakers have decided to partner with us by honoring our invitation letter. And without that partnership, this event would not have been possible. Even if we have the audience and we don't have the speakers to, talk to the audience. So thank you so much, sir. And we want to say a big thank you to you. And we also want to plead on behalf of this honorable house that we would like to give the data of the participants of this program to JDPC. When you have events, please do well to invite them, because that's how I believe we all can learn and we can all also be engaged in the good work we are doing. So thank you so much, sir, and God bless you, sir. All right. So the next person we have now is our daddy. Now, when it comes to personally myself, I've been doing some few things when it comes to waste management. And I have this strong understanding that no matter how sophisticated your health facility is, if your environment is bad, you cannot have good health within that community. Because people will just keep going to the hospital and coming back to the environment, and they will still get infected with diseases, and they will go back to the hospital and they will come back to the environment. And for me, I believe the best hospital is the place where we live. Because everything we do in life is a function of our environment. If we have good environment, we will have less occurrence of sickness within our community. So our daddy is going to be teaching us how to better engage with our environment how to carry out different kind of cleanup activities. And I'm so sure that at the end of this program, whenever any of us want to organize any event that has to do with waste management or cleanup campaign, wherever we are within Ogun State, I know it will be willing, to support us and to put us through our project. So, sir, you are welcome on board.
Yeah, thank you very much. Firstly, I want to say, well, I don't know what to say. Let me start that because Father has spoken, and you know when a father is talking, it's an embodiment of knowledge. It talks about everything, so I don't know what else to say. Then here I have doctor too. When doctor handle it, that's why they call them a doctor. You do not have a word to add except you want to add another thing to it. And I have my brother here. He is from the Minister of Forestry, Mr. Kinshete. I call him the law because he knows in and out when you talk anything about forestry. Now, with what they've given us to talk about, we want to talk about waste management and disposal. And that's talking about goal number 6 in SDG. My name is Dukunide Olumuyiwa. I am representing the Director of Operations, Ogun State Waste Management Authority. Is into another program, and we have to attend this because in Ogwama, we believe in one thing: whatever concerns environment is our priority, and we have to give due attention to it. While they are preparing the slide, I want to talk about what he said the other time. Ogwama is ever ready whenever you call upon us, particularly on environment, solid waste management. Call us 24/7, we are going to be there. If you're organizing a program, just call us, we will be there. And we'll give due support. Thank you for it. I know my paper is going to generate a lot of questions because that is where the real thing is. That is on climate change. You know, there is no way we want to talk about climate change without talking about waste disposal. If you don't dispose your waste properly, this thing we are holding, before it can decay, it takes over 5 decades. Put it there, let sand covers it, 50 years, dig it, you still find this thing there. Sometimes we're in a program and they show us a slide where these PET bottles were found in London. You imagine that's the one they call Mr. B. So you wonder how can this thing get to London? The minute they throw it into the water, you know water flows. It finds its way. Those things you buy, those sachet water, those PET bottles, the PET things you buy, you just throw it anyhow. Before you know it, when floods come, just move it into the sea. And the next thing you see, just, hey, this thing has gone to London, and me, I'm still in Nigeria. So I don't know how this thing comes about. So we are here to talk about how to effectively and efficiently manage our waste from the source and to the landfill. That's what we call the process. Are you ready for this? Just slide 1, please. Slide 1. The next slide. The next slide, not the content. I want to Yes. Yeah. Let's quickly talk about what is solid waste management so that we can know whenever we see a waste, we can know this is solid waste and this is liquid waste. Now, solid waste management is one of the most pressing environmental challenges faced by developing countries. In 2020, Nigerian population was estimated to amount to 206 million. That is data from Statista.com. Nigeria produces a large volume of solid waste, out of which less than 20% is collected through a formal system. In some cases, the end stage of waste production and consumption activities result in waste that are recycled and reused. However, the majority of cases, this of cases, end of stage waste are discarded and disposed of. What I mean by that is this. You know, I said it earlier. Out of 100% of waste we generated, 20% are being evacuated through efficient means. Other ones, you and I, we do it every day. We just buy a thing, we just drop it. We don't care how it's ended. Inside either park, garages, eateries, we just do everything. I wonder when people go to see sensation, they use like 3,000, 4,000, sometimes to buy snacks and food. At the end of the day, after they consume the whole thing, they will just drop the waste inside a drainage. So this waste that you are dumping, this waste that are dumping inside drainages are being handled inefficiently because sometimes cat pushers or scavengers will just go into the place, do whatever something they want to do, and other thing they will just throw it anywhere they like, and this waste will eventually find itself into our maybe drainages or anywhere and thereby causing flooding. Now we now have municipal solid waste. By definition from UN Habitat, these are waste generated by households and waste of similar nature generated by commercial and industrial premises, by institutions such as schools, hospitals, care homes, and prisons, and from public spaces such as streets, markets, slaughterhouses, public toilets, bus stops, parks, and gardens. This working definition will guide us into this working definition also includes most commercial and business waste, with the exception of waste from industrial processes and other hazardous waste. What we call municipal waste in our house, at Buddha Market, Future Market, Sweet Sensation, government offices, schools and other places, churches and other places like that, except the waste generated from industrial facilities. And don't forget, even industrial facilities, we have some municipal waste because we have waste that people working in that industrial facilities are generating. They are generating some waste too. Those ones, we call them municipal waste. The next slide, please. Next slide. It's not coming up. Now, it is important for me to quickly tell us the agencies starting with the primary responsibility of handling waste in Ogun State. This agency was created in October 2019 by an executive order, and the Ogun State House of Assembly passed a law in July 2020 establishing Ogun State Waste Management Authority. Now, before this time, waste management was being handled by Ogun State Environmental Protection Agency. And you know, Ogun State Environmental Protection Agency is all about protection of the environment, water pollution, air pollution, and the likes. But this government feels it's necessary that there should be an agency that is going to be saddled with a primary responsibility of managing our waste. Because when we don't manage our waste efficiently, before you know it, I don't know, has anybody been to Shaje here? You've been to Shaje? That's one of our landfills in Ogun State. You know how the place looks like. You're laughing. Well, just imagine an environment the environment that is not managing its waste. Just look at how Shaje is and how the whole environment will be like. I don't know if we have any people that is coming from interland here. Maybe I'm talking about those streets like Ituku. Is anybody living around Ituku here? Nobody is living around Ituku. I want to be practical so you know why we need Ogwama, Ogun State Waste Management Authority. Okay, you are all from Ibarra Housing Estate. Am I right? Okay. From Adato? From Omida? Oladiri, right? Or we are from outside Abeokuta? From Obada? Okay. You know in Obada there's a particular place in the media that they used to put waste. You know the place. Do you like the place as it is? You don't like it? Okay, you just pass. All right. So, just pass that. What I'm trying to tell us is this: the importance of managing our waste. If you have been to Itoko inside, or just to media here, and some places in Chapon here, you see a very deep illegal dump site. From that illegal dump site, go and check the people living around that place. Take them to the laboratory and test them. You'll find out that, the kind of diseases, they are going to be diagnosed of. You can't just imagine it. So that is the essence. Why this present administration said is going to establish, or he has established, Ogun State Waste Management Authority to manage solid waste in Ogun State efficiently. Now, the policy of the state, Ogun State Waste solid waste policy objective is centered on provision of clean and livable environment, sustainable municipal solid waste services, job creation, and investment opportunities. The state generates about 380 metric tons of waste daily from estimated population of 5.2 million. That is Nigerian Bureau of Statistics report. Now, Ogun State has a landmark of 16,981 square kilometers rather, and highly industrialized. That is World Bank. The World Bank projected 6% annual growth against the national projection of 2.7 for 2020. You see the problem we are in. The national projection is just 2.7, and the World Bank is telling us that we are having 6% annual growth. The next slide, please. Now we want to categorize our waste. Correct classification is the foundation of ensuring that the segregation, collection, transportation, storage, treatment, and disposal of waste is carried out in a manner that provides protection for the environment and human health and in compliance with legal requirements. Waste categorization is a system of classification of waste according to predefined criteria. For the purpose of this solid waste management policy document, waste shall be classified according to the following. You know, while the doctor was talking about tree planting, tree planting and some other things the other time, he was talking about categorization so that we know what type of a tree to plant in a particular place or in a particular time. So also it applies to the waste management. Now we have household waste. That is the waste you and I generated in our house, in our houses. We have industrial waste, which can be categorized further into hazardous and non-hazardous industrial waste. We have electronic waste. We have special bulk waste. This special bulk waste, this can be termed to be construction waste. We have agricultural waste. We have marine litter. We have medical waste. Next slide, please. Now, we know all this, that we have this type of waste. And not handling it is going to bring about menace in our environment. And also is going to pose some challenges into the environment. And this will debar us from achieving SDG goal number 6. Now, Obama now decided to itemize the menace and the challenges we are facing in Ogun State concerning solid waste management. Now, with increasing population industrialization and the public non-compliance, Ogun State is faced with the challenge of adequately handling of the increasing quantum of solid waste generated from anthropogenic activities. The challenge is facing the state can be cast under the following major issues: unauthorized and indiscriminate disposal of solid waste, improper storage facilities on the part of the public, utilization of illegal dump sites, ignorance, unawareness on the part of the public, unregulated waste trading among the industries. Indiscriminate handling of industrial waste at illegal dump sites, illegal collection and indiscriminate dumping of solid waste management. Now, before the advent of this administration, if you have been living in Ogun State for the past 10 years, you will know the practice then was bring your waste to the road. We will come and pack it. That is not the world best practice. The world best practice is you put your waste at your doorpost where the accredited waste manager will come and pick it. Now, the previous administration policy encourages illegal dump sites. When this administration came in, we tried to track the number of illegal dump sites in Ogun State, and we accounted for over 506 illegal dump sites throughout Ogun State. 506 over illegal dump sites in Ogun State. And you know what that means? It leads to spread of cholera and other epidemics. And as I'm talking to you, as that last year, we've evacuated close to 180 of these illegal dump sites across the state. And we are going forward again to evacuate others. Yes, we know we have challenges about money. That's fun. Everybody has it. But the fact that the administration is hell-bent to make sure that it eradicates all the illegal dump sites. And that was why, to start with, it enacted a law, which we call Obama Law 2020, to give the backing to every activities on effective waste management. So, if Obama staff or health officers come to your house and demand for your bill or demands, how are you evacuating your waste? And you talk blah, blah, blah. He can charge you to court with the Obama law because you are constituting nuisance to the environment. If you are not patronizing accredited PSP, that means you are dumping your waste illegally. By so doing, you are defacing the environment, you are promoting unhealthy activities in the environment. The system is not on. Okay, let me use my phone. But I would have loved them to see what I'm doing. Now, security threats posed by card pushers to the society in respect to collection of solid waste. Low participation of private sector participants, secrecy of industries, and PSP operator in financial dealings. So you're from Ijebu, you do see some card pushers around pushing. You see, these card pushers, most of them are Abokis, they are Fulanis. And I do say something whenever I go to the field to go and work. I say these Fulanis, sorry to say that. They don't have where to trace them. They don't have anybody. They can pick your waste, they just dump it anyhow. They don't care. They will collect money from you. They don't care what is going to happen at the long run. You understand? These are challenges we face. We face challenges from even the law and the private sector participants. So by the time Obama was starting in 2019, we had only 2 compactors. As I'm speaking with you now, we have over 160 compactors working in the state. Over 160 compactors. From 2 in 2019 to 160 compactors working now in the state. Then the industries too are not helping. You know, Nigerian factors, the underdealings. Instead of them taking their waste to the landfill, they prefer to, you know, the Chinese people and the Lebanese and other things. Instead of them share ways to do it. Let me give you something. Just take this amount of money. Help us to pass this to and they're just going to dump it on the road. And for us now to come and be picking it. Before the advent of this administration, because I'm on the field, so I should be able to tell you some things. Immediately you are coming from Lagos. Can you tell me the difference between Lagos before the advent of this administration? If you are coming from that side, can you tell me the difference? Oh, I'm in Ogun. Anybody here? You said? No, yes, doctor. Not even the doctor. You see, immediately you are getting to Baga. When you see from left and to the right side, are waste. You just see it waste, there waste, there even open defecation everywhere. You said? Not even the way. I'm talking about Baga now. Are you getting it? But now you cannot differentiate between Lagos and Ogun now because everywhere is clean. Ogun State now starts its own waste evacuation 5 p.m. in the morning. 5 p.m. in the morning, and we do even night operations. So we just want to make sure that Ogun State is clean. Yes. The next slide, please. Now you can see the pictures. That's what I was telling you when some of the mega job sites, we were clearing them. You can see. The next slide, please. Now, from the challenges we face, we cannot say because we are facing challenges, the purpose we are there is to create or innovate as solutions. We have to come out with a clear-cut solutions to curb the challenges we are facing. Now, we are ensuring that waste is being managed by government accredited PSP. Like I said earlier, we started with 2. Now we have over 150 accredited PSP. You know, I said 160 compactors. Some had 2 compactors. As I'm speaking with you now, we have over 150 PSP, accredited PSP in Ogun State. Now, usage of disposal refuse bags for household waste collection and placing of mammoth bins at strategic locations, especially at marketplaces. If you go around Abeokuta, you can see some of the mammoth bins. We call it rural bins, roll on, roll off. You can see we are placing in some strategic locations so that people can come and dispose of their waste into the bin instead of them placing it on the roadside. Though we still have some people that are hell-bent on placing it on the roadside. We will get to that place now. Now, closing down of illegal dump sites and usage of government-approved ones. By the time we're going, we'll see some of the legal dump sites, the picture of some of the legal dump sites. Adopt proper waste segregation and sorting at source. Incorporation of cat pushers into the waste management. Now, takes place. I said earlier, you find that most of them are bookies. They don't care. They don't care about anything. What they just want is, they just give me 50 naira. Let me pick your waste. Aboki, pick my waste. Just take the waste. Now we know this is Nigeria. It's a home for every indigent, or to every indigent. Okay, we cannot send them back. What can we do? We decide, okay, we are going to integrate them into the system. We are going to call them. We are training them now that instead of you picking your waste and dumping it on the roadside, okay, just pick those waste you are picking, go and dump it inside mammoth bin. We are giving them reflective jackets so as to identify them from the nefarious one who are performing untoward activities. You know, we have challenges. Some of them will go to some estates to go and be stealing things inside the estate. We have video evidences. They just go, and some happened at Makuru Estate. They just go to those construction, they just in there and picking it. Not knowing that CCTV was capturing them. So those are the things Obama is doing to make sure we integrate everybody into the efficient waste management system. Now, traffic enforcement side should be ensured. By the time we're going to see some of the pictures. This morning, we still carried out some enforcement operations along NNPC side, where some offenders were picked up and they asked to do community service, and some to go and pay fine to government coffers. Now, engagement of enough PSP operator, I've talked about that. Effective and efficient monitoring of work by government officials. Next slide, please. To enhance full compliance. We're doing that. And here I want to tell you that Obama is partnering with every NGO, committed NGO, that are ready to work with Obama on clean environment, either through monitoring or advocacy. I'm referring that to you. All right. Yeah. Now, government role in ensuring a clean and hygienic environment. Now, like I said, to show the political will, Ogun State enacted a law in June 2020, to tackle the solid waste management in Ogun State. We are collaborating with private sector participants to ensure a healthy and safe environment. You know, government cannot do it alone. And waste management is everybody's business. It's your business, it's my business. It is a public business. So everybody has to come and play his own part. You have a part to play. That's why we are saying we are collaborating with every private sector participant, NGO, and other people. Please, the slide back. Daily evacuation of existing relatives in the nooks and crannies of the state. I've talked about that. Sensitizing the public on waste management from the source. This includes radio, jingle, city awareness program. If you are conquered, if you are listening to the radios and TV, you'll have seen the special advisor on many occasions engaging public on radio and TV, talking about waste management. You can see him there. That is the man in that reflective jacket. That is Mr. Ola Oresonya. That was an advocacy as a sensitization program to Kara Market and the Sherry area. The other one there, that is Mowe. We're talking about Mowe. That's when we were clearing Mowe dump site. That's illegal dump site. That's January 2020, January, February 2020 to be precise. The other one, the middle one, that is a Songo. That's public, or that is public contractor working along that road in Songo. These are the things we've been doing. We are sweeping, you see the sweepers, that's the sweepers. As you're coming this morning, I don't know if you notice that, you see them sweeping. Strategizing creation of community recycling center in all the 20 local government area in the state. Evacuation of illegal dump site, constant maintenance of all dump sites. Now, let me go back to creation of recycling center. Now, I know you're going to ask questions about that. Obama is currently creating a recycling center all over the local government in Ogun State. You know, we have 20 local governments. And I can tell you for free that we are going to have over 20 recycling centers. Nigerian Breweries is trying to create its own. Nigerian Breweries and some other companies. They want to create recycling centers where people can take this pet bottles. We are organizing program now, waste for money. Are you getting it? We are trying to reduce the waste going to our landfill. By you, from the source, you are going to keep those ones you know that can lead to money. These are pets, hands, electronic waste, and some other things. You keep it, you take it to the recycling center. They will give you at the recycling center. They're going to give you a ticket, and you take that ticket to Oklahoma to exchange for money. Are you getting it? Those are the things this current administration has in focus. And before the end of the year, you know, we are going to the fourth quarter now. We are going to flag that up. So that's why I said we want NGOs to come and partner with Obama on clean environment. Yes, the next slide. Yes, sir. Now, before we round up, our mission in Obama is to coordinate the approach to effective waste collection, waste reduction, and ensuring individuals with corporate responsibility to sustainable waste management practices. Our values are to ensure waste to wealth. That's our core value. Waste to wealth. Even those ones we are taking to the dump site, we want to use it for biogas. Are you getting it? Let me tell you this. The largest recycling centers for waste for paper is in Ogun State. That is Dawa Recycling Center. Papers, Dawa Papers, Obada. The largest recycling center for metal is there in Ogun State and Ubijo. The largest recycling center for PET is there in Ogun State also. So you can see that all over Nigeria, from Kano, Maiduguri, they are taking their paper in tons, metric tons to Ogun State every day to come and convert it to money. Also, for the for this metal recycling. Also for PET, we have some graphs that presently they are working with Obama to Obama now They are seeking for partnership with the government to say, okay, just give us this some site and this some dump site. We want to be sorting. Are we getting it? We want to be sorting and to be taking it to recycle. And what we are pushing in Obama is this: we want circular economy. You know what we call circular economy? We don't want, you know, I mean, some of these companies, they do, they use this thing, they process it into flakes. You know what we call flakes? The small chips, and they now export it. They are taking our money away. Obama now said, no, we want a circular economy. Everything should start from this place and end here. How are we getting it? It starts from this place and ends here. You know, I don't know, we all know this economy bulb. You know those white bulbs now. We're made from this thing. We have some vest we're putting on, some plastic. They're made from these things. Are we getting it? So that is one of our key core values. Ensure waste to wealth and job creation. We are shouting, government, position. How many people will government create jobs for? But government can only give you enabling environment to create jobs. To give you the policy which Obama law gives you. Are we getting it? Obama law is giving you enabling environment to create jobs from our way to wealth program. I know of a colleague that is making presently over 500,000 from this. And we'll just take it to places. So she has, she's a woman. She has workers working for him. Working for her. Are you getting it? And even the ladies among us, we have international donors. We have money there at the National Planning Commission. With gender purposefully, they are just interested in females. You're laughing. Yes. Yes, if you coordinate yourself together with the help of the CEO of Obama, it can help you to assess those things. Before you know it, you become employer of labor. Are we getting it? Now, commitment to safety and efficiency and wisdom, public health and environmental safety, professionalism and transparency, environmental sustainability, and best practices. So, next slide. I want to round up here. That is we from Cuba. That's what we do. That's what we are delighted in. We want to ensure clean and safe environment. And in ensuring that, what you call waste is what we call wealth. So there is no waste in waste. What we see every day, wealth. Because from the Ajekwamala, the Ajekweba, those things that you are throwing away can be converted to generate electricity. Are we getting it? They use it for water. Those electronics, they use it for other things. Those electronic waste. So it is no waste until you call it waste. But we don't call it waste. We call it wealth. Thank you very much. A round of applause for speaker. So, what you call waste, we call it. I used to call it this way. All right, so thank you so much for that wonderful presentation.
All right, so before you leave, sir, I would like to take good photograph with you, if you don't mind, and just you and our wonderful participants, because we don't know when next you have this wonderful opportunity of you speaking, because we know we will have it more times, but for the sake of people who are here, we would like to have a good photograph with you. Thank you so much, sir. And before you leave also, sir, I would like to say young people are also doing amazing projects when it comes to within our society. So I have a colleague of mine who what she does is get plastic bottles. She don't sell it, but she puts it to people who always come to collect for financial return. And when she gets that money to buy educational material for schools, for pupils in public schools. So and she's still currently doing that. So okay. That is one proposal. Then we also have another person. Maybe the well will come to see. Okay. You like to talk? Wait. Question, yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. All our speakers, thank you so much. And to further on SDGs and all of that, I really appreciate how you've been able to take us through it. My question is to our daddy from Ogwama. We appreciate all the work that Ogwama is doing presently in Ogun State. And, you know, I went to Lagos for a training with Loma. And then I saw what they are doing in Lagos State. Fantastic. And then I began to wonder, like, what is Ogwama doing? You know, I already have this, because I just came back. In fact, I'm still on the training. So I'm like, immediately after my training, I'm going to see the CEO of Ogwama, because during our the history of Loma, his name popped up. And I'm like, if he has done so much in Lagos State, is it that he did not like us in Ogun State, that Ogwama is still far below, you know, compared to the work they are doing in Lagos? And he was one of their, I think, a chairman also for Loma, yeah, director. And, you know, and I'm like, what is happening? But then I will still come and see him on that. Okay, so my questions are from your presentation. We're talking about collection, plastic waste recycling, and all of that. Yes, fantastic. They are working to have recycling units in different local governments. But then I collect waste and for recycling and all of that. So I reach out to some off-takers. I have some in Lagos, and the challenges we are having one is land space. Yes, you can't just start collecting waste in any environment. I don't think it's allowed. So I don't know how it's being done. Maybe you take people to a particular area, particular setting, for them to collect waste, because you can't just use your compound. Your landlord or something might complain, even the neighbors might start complaining. So I don't know what Ogwama is doing in that. The land space for NGOs, we have young people who are working in the environmental space, and one of the challenges we usually have is when you want to start collecting is land space. You don't have the land, where will you use? So I don't know if the government or the Ogwama or the environment, the Ministry of Environment partners with young people to provide land space for those who are willing to collect. Then off-takers. I've never come across an off-taker in Abeokuta. So I don't know if they are. So if they are, for us to have access to contact of off-takers who we can sell after collecting from those people who we can sell to. Thank you very much.
Your name, ma'am?
Esther.
Let's just take all the questions.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Magnus Abel. Firstly, let me the opportunity to thank our governor for that great initiative when it comes to waste management in the state. I've been in Abeokuta for over decades now, and I know what Advocacy is all about when it comes to waste. Sir, my own point is we've seen so many agencies come and gone in and out in this Ogun State. When the governor come in this agency, that agency, what is there is you don't have sustainability. You don't have sustainability. Apart from the ministries, other agencies, you discover that immediately the governor is out of office, the agency is out of office. Then you see the members, they are just collecting salary for fun. What is your own agency doing? Make sure that your agency will still be much the effect will be more effective when the governor is out of office. Because if the governor is out of office now, like Daddy said when he was delivering his lecture, the political will, the next governor may think, Ogugu call me. One way or another. So what is your agency doing? And to sustain that will of managing waste in Ogun State. And secondly, sir, the aspect of recycling, I pray God in His infinite mercy will give your agency that strength to sustain it. Because I can remember vividly in the year 2015, either 2015 or 2016, 2015, Dr. Yatogu in Funa gave a lecture on biogas. It was a research done by him. And if Ogun State can tap into that research, I think we are moving towards somewhere far above there. So FUNAB is there. A lot of researches have been done day in, day out. What is Ogun State doing? Your agency go there as in, let us start from what they have done. Please, if your agency can work alongside with FUNAB, thank God we have our mommy here. She's in the same department with Dr. Yatogu. So if we can have that recycling, people can benefit. If people can benefit from your agency, for that agency to die, it's very hard because people will still call for it. But if you that people are not enjoying anything from the agency, so please, sir, we'll be looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I started want to ask, before you mentioned in your speech, I wanted to ask how do you decide if I just collect it and the patient just don't it and probably the only that is done. So, if you told us earlier that there's a way you recycle it and my own question is, you said you were going to launch a movement probably in the fourth quarter of the year now. I'm not asking that I did chances whereby we could advocate for you. Initially, we were talking about educating people. And I feel that one of the major problems that we have in Nigeria and in Africa is that we don't know what to do. We just go about our day-to-day activities. So now that you want to bring about recycling, now that you want to bring about waste for money, are there ways or probably educative parts whereby each individual market women and men would know that it's not about me dumping it alone, it's about me recycling this thing. And what does recycling mean? So probably there's an educative part where we that we are learning from you now could also be a part of that, to speak for you, to be your mouthpiece outside. If you can't go to the market, we could help you to go. If you can't be on the TV 247, we could be on the TV 247 for you. And that is what I'm asking. Are there avenue or platform for that where we could come in for you? Some of us, I'm a graduate of geology. I want to major in waste recycling and management, environmental management and waste recycling. If you are saying that is going to happen in the fourth quarter of the year, are there avenues for us where we could showcase what we could offer?
Well, thank you very much, sir. Before you came, we were discussing on how to help our climate and everything. And I made mention of the dumping of refuse and others disposing of things anyhow. I, for one, I do not do it. Like sometimes when I go home or when I'm checking my bag or purse, even my pockets, I tend to find probably ice cream nylon, sweets as a sachet of things. And like, where did I drop this? And it has been a part of me. To God be the glory. So I want to say that, is there a law that is binding on anyone that disposes of things anyhow? Because sometimes they're like, say, big exotic cars driving past and they just wind down and then throw down a pet bottle, sachet of whatever it is, and nothing is being done about it. Some people will say that the educated ones are the ones destroying the land, dumping of things, and uneducated are the ones packing it for them. It shouldn't be. And if there is no law, sir, please, I would want you to please do something about it. Because it seems that our people, they like force. When there is a law, you have some way. I don't want to be fined. I don't want to do community service. Everybody will sit right. So if as the steps have been taken on that, I guess we'll be able to channel well and then recycle and the likes. Thank you very much.
We still have, okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Doctor, I want to ask a question on maintenance of forestry. You mentioned about fertilizer. Now, I think maybe you not clarify, maybe artificial fertilizer or what kind of fertilizer. Because I know the world is going to organic farming. And if we are talking about fertilizer, fertilizer is also causing degradation in our environment. Now, if we are promoting that people should go into fertilizer, like majorly people go into NPK fertilizer, maybe the ratio of 1:1 or 3:1, or we can't know the exact organic content of that soil. Maybe you can help us to clarify more on which kind of fertilizer, or should we continue encouraging fertilizer? Because if you go into water body, it's still going to cause pollution inside the water body. Should we continue encouraging fertilizer as a maintenance or to help in growing of trees, or we should use other alternatives? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I actually want to be a kind of appraiser at first. It's actually a privilege to be in this list, all the way from Oyo State. It's a privilege. Yeah. So it is not, because when I actually saw the mail yesterday, I was like, wow, they said out of 30 or something. And I know that it's not only this set of people that applied for it. It's actually a great privilege. Very soon I will join you, don't worry. All right. So as regards the Obama system, I don't know much about the state, but as he was actually saying, hey, is there any sensitization platform that we can actually get into, so as to, because in the next few months I will be in Ogun State. I don't know the location that I will be. I'm part of the present cohort of Teach for Nigeria. So, thank you. So, and then probably anywhere I find myself, maybe God want me actually to carry some of this project out. So, is there any sensitization platform that we can kick into? And then another thing, I came late, but I met her saying something about maintaining operation for tree planting, and then he said something about thinning. And then as regards that, we were saying something about how we can protect our plants from fire or something. So I want you to actually dwell more on how to protect that environment from fire, because most of the time when there is a kind of bush burning, it tends to actually bounce to another person's farm. So how can we just take that boundary? And then another thing I would like to ask is if there will be an opportunity for us to have some of these slides that is given to us today. Thank you very much. Adeyemi is my name. Adeyemi. All right.
Okay, that's the question. Wow. At the end of the program, we'll do something like that as a breakout session. Okay.
My daddy was here this morning about his suggestions, and we're talking about waste on littering on the ground everywhere. So, and I came up with this idea because I also thought about it in school, and we had to write something on that. So my suggestion on the write-up was perhaps every street or stop or marketplace should have its dustbin, probably a very massive one. So even if you're coming by, write slowly, and then you drop in your waste in there. So even though there's no excuse for dropping it on ground, because every stop, maybe from here to the bus stop, like 4 ways. So when you're driving, there's no excuse. I didn't see those things, that's right. Or I don't want to let my car go. And also, I came across a picture here on how to transport.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, good day, everybody. Sorry, I have not spoken since, so I feel I should. My name is Samuel Siokore, and I'm a pop youth mentor and ambassador for Africa. And then I'm also a global speaker on climate and environment. Now, mine is not a question anyway, but just to portray what she said. In Cross River State, like I know you've made reference to Cross River State. I don't know if I made reference to Cross River State. Now, there's a whole lot of things. I studied University of Calabar. I studied sociology and anthropology. And then when you're looking at carbon credits, it's not actually as easy as what water as it is as saying it in Cross River State. Because I have also been in Cross River State. The logging that is going on there is something else. The logging is really massive, and the logging is even perpetrated by the politicians as well. So that's left aside, but there was a suggestion I gave them in their environment as well. So what we did was we created an environmental force. Okay, and then this environmental force, they go on uniform and they enforce sustainable environmental practices. So what we did for each taxi must have a waste basket. Each taxi must have a waste basket. Each car must have a waste basket. So that you don't give excuses that you don't have a waste basket. And in the city itself, they also stop cars, not frequently, but from time to time, to know if they have this waste basket. Now it's also a way for the state to also generate income because this waste basket will be sold to these people. Now, once it's filled up, there's always a strategic point where you dispose this waste. In Benin, I trained corpers on what I call hobbits. Just like somebody was saying, you do not dispose until you get. So I trained them on sustainable environmental practices. There is a term I call hobbit until you bin it. So it's something that even cars too, you can make a sticker. These are environmental networks. You have the network. You can make a sticker in all these cars, in all these taxis. I believe when people see awareness, it sinks deep than when you tell them. So that once they see it, hold it until you bin it and it's pasted on their cars, they are also conscious of how they dispose their waste in the environment. And lastly too, Ogun State is really trying actually, because I know I'm not from this state. I stay in Lagos.
Okay, so but coming down here with apart from, I know there's been a whole lot of road issues which I know is under construction based on the inquiries I made. But I believe in terms of waste, I know Lagos then is not Lagos now because there has been a whole lot of waste management ongoing. So what I'll suggest is advocacy, using youths as mouthpiece to advocate for sustainable environmental practices in the state, like you rightly said, and somebody asked that question. So I believe if youth have been incorporated into the advocacy wing of the state in terms of environmental sector, it's going to go a long way because this youth you are seeing now, if you do not use them, they may also be the same people too, that once it's raining, they will carry that waste and pour inside the gutter, blocking water channels from flowing. They may also be the same people that once there is no way, there is no waste place for them to dispose their waste, they'll just carry it and don't pay any place. But if you use them, just like I said in the, sorry, I'm rounding up now, just like I said in the NSAS process, I said they used we to destroy we. Because same youths that we are advocating for against us, it was also the same youths that they used to destroy it. So if you use the same youth for advocacy, you also see the results here because you are using we to tackle a global challenge, which is positive to our environment and planet. Thank you.
All right, yeah, thank you. Let me allow Dr. to.
Thank you very much. We talked on a fertilizer application to choose. When I was speaking, I said you might not actually need fertilizer if you just go for soil analysis. You don't just apply fertilizer to soil just because you want to apply fertilizer. You must first analyze the soil and ensure that those nutrients are actually deficient. Peradventure, they are not deficient. What are the fertilizers to use? We really, sometimes we don't call them fertilizer, we call it soil amendment. Soil amendment. We advocate for organic fertilizer. And if you are using organic fertilizer, because it is organic, it is very highly impossible or minimally to degrade the environment. If you are not going to use the one that is compounded by the company, you can allow your cow dung, you can get poultry droppings and allow them to decompose. Those ones will not affect the environment. And it is now, what type of application? The right application must be done for it not to wash away. If you are using it around, you are using around the down slope, but if you are using it on a plain slope, you are supposed to do it the way supposed to. If you do it right, it is almost impossible for you to run down into the stream. So I advocate for organic, but then we use inorganic just for research to compare. Okay, which of these fertilizers are good? But then I as a person, even for my personal use, I use organic fertilizer, poultry manure, cow dung, sheep droppings. I tell my students, collect them, let us decompose them, and let's use them rather than going for inorganic fertilizers. Because one, inorganic fertilizers, even when you apply them, they have their negative effects. They tend to burn the roots of the plant. So I don't really use them except for research, just to compare. And then, have I answered the question? Thank you. Then fire tracing. Fire tracing is when you demarcate your main plantation from the surrounding. In fact, it is not just for fire tracing, it is also for protection. It is like you make a solid gap and between your plantation and this the adjacent whatever, maybe building or land. Let's say you acquire your land with another person's land, and the person might be careless, but when you do fire tracing, you clear that land from anything combustible, wood, litters, anything that can easily. So you only have a bare floor, and most times that is done prior in dry season, because at dry season, anything can tackle fire. So once you do a tracing and what you have is a bare floor, it is very difficult for you. When I'm talking about the distance, I'm not talking about the distance of like, I'm talking about let's say 5 meters distance from adjacent land. Before the fire can jump from that land into your own plantation, it will take a lot of time. So if you use the normal fire tracing, apart from protecting the plantation from fire, it also protects your land from intruders. They will have known that there is a demarcation. So I shouldn't go beyond this boundary. So it is you clearing away combustible materials, wood, litters, anything that can easily tackle fire and send it into your own plantation. Did I clear it? Thank
Thank you, doctor. Yes. Please, I want us to listen very well. Yes, Esther Oluwatoyin, I want to start with you. Yeah, you talked about Mr. Olaore Sanya. What you see in Lagos today, that's almost 2 decades of work. Mr. Oresanya became the general manager of Loma in 1996. No, in 2006. That's during Ashola. Are you getting it? Now, and by the time Lagos was starting, we're even better. Yeah. Even better. Lagos was starting with catfisher, pong pong, and every other thing. That was what they started with. That during those periods, you claimed now, you about They're going to have a fair advantage. All right. Now, you talk about sustainability. That is, you talk about sustainability. I said we already have a law in place. Ogwama is established by law. Other agencies are established by executive order. And we are creating ministry of so and so, transportation, bam, they just deploy it to there. But the state waste management authority is established through legislation. Are we getting it? You know why it is so? It is a public business. Are you getting it? And people, you must ensure, you must earn public trust before such business can thrive. Are you getting me? So, even if this government leaves office today, Obama will still continue to exist. The person that creates Loma is no more there now. Is Loma not thriving? Now look at what happened some other time when the governor said he wants to put everybody aside, he wants to carry somebody or come from South Africa to come and be managing the waste. I don't want to mention it again. You know what happened in Lagos? So if any government comes today and try to undermine what we are having now, it's going to backfire. From 250, from 2 compactors to over 160 compactors. It is public money there, no government kobo inside. And a compactor, a Tokyo compactor average is 10 million. Now multiply 10 million times 160. So somebody will now come one day and say, no, this thing cannot be. And you know what will happen next now. Do you understand me? You know what will happen next. So just calm down. If you have passion for this, for waste to wealth, feel free to do it. There is an enabling law. It's going to continue till eternity until Jesus comes. So I think that satisfies you too. Then talk about collaboration with institutions like FUNAB and so on. We are doing that already. In fact, I've forgotten the name of this prof. The prof that is helping us carry out research on our land fields. Can you remind me? He's in the geology department. He's helping us carry out research on the suitability of our land failure. That's where we call dump site. Are you getting it? And we're doing that, we'll continue to do that. However, I'll still take this school. I'll tell the SA that we still have to do more in collaboration with institutions, especially the research department. Are we getting it? Now, on advocacy, I said it earlier, we have advocacy units. And I said, we cannot do it alone. You know, we are limited. Limited in personnel, that's what I'm saying. But youths are not limited. We have different NGOs. They can just come together, partner with Ogama on advocacy. Our doors are open. We are going to welcome you with our both hands, and we are going to support you. Are you getting it? Our office is there. You've been to our office now. And it's just across this. Our office is there. You can walk in and check anything there. Yes, presently we are working with an NGO, INSETEC, on monitoring and ethics, telling people this is what to do, this is what you should not do, this is how you manage your waste. You have to patronize PSP. We know we people are very stubborn. And I'll tell you why. The system we have been running for almost 10, 15 years. And somebody now said, in a day, we just have to change. Is that possible? So we just have to do it, and we get things done. You understand? But one thing I know is this, we are not looking back, we are going forward. And surely we will get there. Now, law on, I said they should need to put on the system the website of Obama. You didn't put it on, okay? Where is it? I can't find it. Yes, https://obama.ogunstate.gov.ng. Anything on waste management, you see it there. We have an enabling law now. Are you getting it? Section 27 of that law prohibits illegal dumping. And section 34, 35 prescribes penalty to the tune of 4 million naira and 6 months imprisonment to run concurrently. We are getting there. You know, we're just starting. See, people will say, we don't know. We don't know. We are going to move away from the era of we don't know to the era of you know, is because we don't want to do. And that is what advocacy is going to do for us. Are you getting it? Like somebody they apprehended this morning, the Igbo guy that was his Oga came and said, because we don't know, we used to dump our refuse. I was not asking him, okay, that's electric. It's not part of the environment. He said, it's dead that are living there. You understand? I will say, okay, where we are trading at the Shabo, are you patronizing PSP? He said, no, when motor just come, I just carry my waste. Who ties in that motor? I said, that's offense number 2. At the end of the day, we asked him to go and pay the fine of 5,000. But it's not the 5,000 that matters. It is the lesson learned. Are you getting it? It is the lesson learned that we have to patronize your PSP. We don't just dump waste outside. I pay for my waste. And whenever we go out, we ask, where are your bills? Like NEPA bills, whatever bills, water bills, and whatever. We are getting to a particular point in Ogun State very, very soon that whenever you want to open an account in any bank in Ogun State, they are going to ask for that waste bill. Are you getting it? All this we are doing just to inculcate into people the habit of managing waste. Are we getting it? Because it is your duty to manage your waste by putting it inside container or watertight and airtight nylon. It is our duty in Obama to come and pick your waste through accredited PSP and to transport it to the landfill. That is the only way we can sustain our environment. And the last one, I said everything you want to know is on Check Obama website. Like my sister that talked about Mr. Okoye talked about waste basket. If you are conversant with Ogun State, you know there is an existing agency that is handling that. The level of patronage may be low, but we will continue to remind them. Because in park and garages, the waste generated their thing is huge. And sometimes we even see these drivers, these commercial drivers, after they return from a trip, they will just use a brush, put everything, bam. So they have cleaners that do cleansing. But it becomes bad if they have been using the waste basket. Continue to enforce that. And like the role thing you talked about, I said it earlier. Unfortunately, we cannot put waste baskets everywhere or waste bin everywhere. It doesn't make sense. Are we getting it? It doesn't make sense. What makes sense is this. Door post picking of waste. That is what makes sense. Are you getting it? We can only put giant bins, maybe in marketplaces, other areas, but not in every state. If you continue to put bins from Shapon to this place, there will be no space for car to park. So that's just it. Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you so much. I will know it's taking a lot of time. You have a question? Question there. So we are rounding up now, but before we go, I would like to say something to our speakers. Rest assured.
Yeah, I don't want to contradict my brother here. Just to stop it. There are three goals to policy advocacy. As I mentioned to you, if a change is important, check. Is there any policy? Is there any law? If there is none, fight for it. Are we together? If this is very important for the society, there is no law, there is no policy, organize yourself to get a law and a policy enacted. Second goal, there is a policy that is inadequate. Then you have to fight for a policy reform. This policy, this law is not meeting our expectations. It has to be changed. Then organize and fight for it. Third goal, there is a policy, there is a law that is close to perfect. The only problem is not being implemented. Then organize. Fight for the implementation. Stop complaining. Stop agonizing. What you need is to organize. Don't expect charity from government. Engage the government. Before there is a law, there is a policy. Don't expect the government to be the only one to implement the law. That law that has been passed, you heard me, they can go as far as affecting your opening of a bank account. That's the power of the law. So you fight, you have to fight for it to ensure that the law is fully implemented, the law is adequate, or there is an existing law. Remember, never alone. You can never fight a government alone. You can never challenge a government alone. Remember, you need facts to challenge the government. Remember, you need members to challenge the government. Bring your facts together as a team. The government will call you to sit down with them. If this issue of environment is important, that we have created 2 officers in our office who are fully in charge of environment. So very soon we'll invite you to come for popular debate in Djibouti. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. A round of applause. And sir, when you are invited, please do invite us as well. All right. So
Thank you very much, sir. I just want to ask a question and also to point our attention to, I don't know, is there a form of partnership between Ogun State Primary Healthcare Development Board and Ogwama? Is there a form of partnership between them? The reason why I'm asking this is because there are some primary healthcare centers. I mean, I'm a public health professional, and there are some primary healthcare centers because I believe waste disposal, waste management is a collective effort. Even with the medical practitioners, because in some primary healthcare centers, but I can't mention them. But there are some primary healthcare centers in Ogun State. In fact, in Abeokuta to be precise. The way the medical waste they are being stored is not
is nothing to write home about. And there are some, and also for most of the primary healthcare centers, what they do is they bond them. Most of them.
All right. So, thank you very much. There is a partnership, collaboration between all relevant government agencies that affect waste management. Let me say this to you. Last year, I am for the program. We had a meeting, online program, through Zoom, that we held a meeting with shadow medical practitioners. Are you getting it? And not primary healthcare providers in Ogun State. That meeting, the attendance was over 100. Are you getting it? And presently, for you to know we are committed to what we're doing, we have healthcare waste unit in Ogwama that is handling healthcare related issues. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, sir. So just to round off, because we've taken so much time, just to round off, like I was saying earlier, that at the end of this program, we as a body will be knocking on different doors, different government agencies and doors, concerning different projects that we'll be working on. I just want to give like icebreaker. So we'll be knocking on the doors of Ministry of Forestry and the doors of Professor Dr. Messi Iswa on some kind of project, like we say there's no garden. I'm sorry to say, or there's no garden in Advocacy, or even if you say, let me just generalize. Because if young people want to go out now and you want to say you want to have a place to do it, it's full of our there's very people you can go and see. It's a place where there is trees, there is chairs, people can sit down, have good environment, have good fresh air. So we'll be doing some projects in that line and we'll be knocking on your door. We have projects on 1 house, 1 2 projects. We'll be doing something like that. Because if you look at Advocacy from Google Maps, the only thing you see is down. I mean, Advocacy is entirety. No forest cover, no tree cover, and that's where urban forestry will be coming in. We'll be working with Ogwama to do a lot of clean-up campaigns. Like there's an organization here called Young African Leaders Initiative. They are people planning a clean-up campaign at the moment. So let's assure that there's nothing on your door. And also on recycling projects, like that lady said, we'll be working as a community. Maybe you give us the space in Advocacy, and everybody who are into recycling and recycling, they will know how to manage that space themselves, and they can, work effectively. And okay, the waste basket project. Yes, I know we can have this basket everywhere in Advocacy, so I think we can have this basket strategic places in Advocacy.
That we have over 6.
No, not the big dumpsters. I mean, like all those
Sorry, you see, we can't have that. Now we have that, we are spoiling the business for the people that has invested. That's why we said it is okay. Pick your way, put your weight at the door, at your door post, you come and pick it.
Okay. No,
that's the one best practice.
No problem, sir. So we'll work more on Advocacy. And thank you so much. At this point, I will call someone to give a vote of thanks, and we are going to have the photo session and call it a day. Thank you so much.
Good everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I am really happy to be in Ogun State. I know this project has gone through a series of planning. So sorry about what happened today that we started late. We are trying to put things in order. My name is Samuel Siokore. By God's grace, one of the convener of this particular project. And then I want to thank all the partners and even all the speakers as well for coming here today. And then this program is actually being streamed by our international community all over the world. And then we really want to engage after now. Our plan is to select at least to go to the field work because they don't just want to create. For activists, and when I'm saying activists, it's not just by words, but by action. You could also check my name on Google, Samuel Siokore. So we engage with states. This project actually is in line with Federal Ministry of Environment. Yes, so we engage with state commissioners, policymakers, we knock on their doors to make sure they act responsibly for the environment and also for human health. Because environment is tied to human health. If the environment is bad, then your health is bad. So Nigeria is bad today is a result of the environment. Even the Boko Haram clashes is a result of the environment. They cannot migrate if the environment is good. So there's a lot of climatic factors attached to these things that if we begin to analyze now, you keep on saying, I'm sorry for condemning these people this way. So thank you so much for coming. See you all tomorrow. But we'll have a good photograph and we want to make this presentation to our facilitators, please. Sorry, we should have done this on time. So I know you may not be able to hear it, sir. For you, sir. Okay, so we'll be taking a group photograph. So I don't know if you could just raise it up so that just with the shirts. Thank you so much. And also, please, after now, I don't know, where can we take the group photograph? We can take it here. Okay, please, can we all come forward? I don't know how we are going to do that. Okay, so please, we need you to come forward. I will just shift this seat backward, right?
Hello. So please, let's not come out. Hey guys, see you all tomorrow. Please say it in. Okay, all right. Well done. Well done, my brother.